Mm,
We're
And we're
live.
live! Thank God. Yeah. Hey, everyone, and welcome to another Massachusetts podcast. This time on a Saturday instead of a Sunday, like we usually do. And joining me today, I have two usuals and a newcomer, believe it or not. I am your host, George Bam, as a lot of you know, or if you're new to this podcast, again, I just told you who I am. And joining me tonight, we have our two regulars, Ryoga, 316,
Hey, hey
and
guys.
Proto, and
Uh,
we also okay, there, man.
Hello.
And we also have today a new member who contacted another podcast member, Sylvia, to join the podcast. Jacob, who from Cartoon Research, and who also recently joined Massachusetts Salmon. How are you doing, Jacob?
Very well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Anyway, this week we have CN pulling all their shows, except a slight amount of Couple, Shaun the Sheep movie getting a potential sequel and currently in production, live action Akira remake rumors, more of that shit. Like, as you know, Hollywood loves messing around with Akira for live action Akira for some reason. Uh, Nickelodeon potentially making a new channel dedicated to classic shows, or it's a new fucking block on a main Nickelodeon channel. I have no idea. We'll talk about that later. And also, we have an upcoming Justin Timberlake on an upcoming new DreamWorks movie, and we also have the announcement of who won the animated Emmys this year. And to start us off, we're going to be talking about the Emmys. For those of you who don't know about the Emmys, it's well, Jerome, I'll let you explain this for us.
Well, the Emmys obviously it's kind of like the Academy Awards but for television. And it's usually for those that aired in the United States. Um, so the Emmys is going to start tomorrow or tonight. I'm not sure. But a few days earlier, they've actually made on the Emmys website. They've actually made an announcement on some of the winners on a number of their categories. Among them, the Outstanding Animated Program, which is a show that lasted 30 minutes or more, and the Short Animated Program, which lasted half of that time.
Exactly.
So for the Short Animated Program, um, we had the competitor. We had the Adventure Time episode Jake the Brick winning over Steven Universe's Lion 3, straight to video, regular shows, White Elephant Exchange, um, an episode from Adult Swim, and one episode from Disney's Mickey Mouse shorts, and one episode from Wander Over Yonder. So,
Oh, interesting.
so basically, you have four from Cartoon Network and two from Disney and Cartoon Network one. In addition, let me add to that the short 12 Forever from one of the new Cartoon Network shorts that came out earlier this year was
Oh yeah,
supposed to be part of the nomination, but it didn't make the cut.
oh, that
So
sucks.
so that's pretty much disappointing. Going to the outstanding animated character, which is 30 minutes.
Looks like Proto
Um,
signed up.
that's right.
It happens a lot.
Hold
Anyway,
on.
you're saying, Yoga?
So on the outstanding animated category, which is like 30 minutes or more, we have four of the entries are coming from Fox and Comedy Central. So from Fox, we have Archer, Bob's Burgers, and The Simpsons, as usual. From
Yeah.
Comedy Central, we have South Park. And the fifth entry is the only entry from Cartoon Network, which is Over the Garden Wall. Now, so everybody was expecting The Simpsons to win again because they usually win this year. But in a big twist, Over the Garden Wall won for Best Animated Series.
Wow.
So
Which is quite the accomplishment, given how much of a track record the Emmys have towards animated program. It's kind of similar to what the Oscars do with animated films and shorts
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
And where I stand with this, if any of you know me with how I feel about Over the Garden Wall, if you previously have seen some of our earlier podcasts, the podcast we did on Over the Garden Wall, okay, full disclosure, for any of you who have seen that podcast, I want to make a really solemn apology for that because uh, the way I acted and the way I expressed my opinion was completely immature and childish, and I really feel bad for what I said and how aggressive I was towards Sylvia and Gene and everyone else in the podcast. I was just angry at Sylvia for driving me nuts about it, and it was just driving me up the wall, and I didn't know how to really express it. I rewatched couple of the shorts a couple of weeks ago, and I'm still not that gaga over it. I don't think it's that amazing of a show, but still, I respect it really well for finally dethroning The Simpsons in this regard, because I feel like this is one instance where I feel like I would have given the Emmy to probably like Bob's Burgers or Archer, because I fucking love those shows, or South Park. But either way, it's better than nothing, I guess.
Well, in my opinion, in terms of Over the Garden Wall, I've only seen it once, and that was back when it first aired, back in November of last year. Right? Was it last year? Right?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was last year.
Yeah, the end of
Halloween
last
last
year.
year.
Okay. Well, in my opinion of it was, I did actually like it quite a bit, but I guess it was probably because there was always something about it to me that kind of, I guess in a way, it was kind of riding off because I remember it was like back in October there was PCM did some stuff with old school animation, like I think it was Ray Studios. I think I almost want to say that like there was some novel tunes or whatever, and I watched that. And watching Over the Garden Wall kind of reminded me, and you guys are openly allowed to disagree. It reminded me a bit of like a bit of cartoons, a little bit from the 30s, like sometimes with the character design,
The
sometimes with
Max
music.
Fleischer cartoons, right?
What?
The Max Fleischer cartoons. You know, like Felix the
Yeah,
Cat.
yeah. It
Yeah, I
reminds me a
actually got
lot
that.
of that, in a
Yeah, I
way.
kind of got that impression as well.
Um, and I guess part of it was I kind of watched it because I always felt a bit, not so much like thrown off at it, but I was like going like, oh my god, what on earth's going on? Like thinking this was like a weird drug trip. Because
Yeah.
you know Cartoon Network is known for like Adventure Time, regular show, Amazing World of Gumball. They're known for doing shows with surreal imagery. It's how it was handled that I thought was kind of, it made me uneasy, but in a bit of a good way in some regards.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
Frodo, you have anything to say about it?
Yeah. Considering that when I first saw the show, I thought that it was just good. Not the greatest thing that everyone was telling me everyone that it was. I just thought it was good. The
So,
hype came and everything, and my opinion just pretty much just changed from good to meh. I don't think it's a bad miniseries. I just think it's overrated.
The funny thing about Over the Garden Wall for me was like on Friday, like when it was showing the last two parts, I was still in high school and my computer class was going to go see Big Hero 6,
okay.
and which had the Frozen following for a total of like 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Damn.
But what made it so funny was we did it at the Alamo Draft House Cinema, and before the movie was starting, they actually were showing like some Fleischer Brothers cartoons, and I was thinking, yeah, I'm still getting that vibe.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Really, I mean, I love like old school shit. Like I love old school cartoons, old school films, old school music. I really am appreciative of that kind of stuff, and I really did appreciate that vibe that the show was going for, and why I actually really appreciated that. I just didn't like. It just didn't grab me as much as everyone else seemed to. Like I just, it's really hard to explain because I have a very contentious opinion towards really hyped stuff. Like whether it's something like that or where I might mostly when it comes to that I might mostly am different to it, and my anger for it mostly comes from like people just constantly like drooling over it, and I'm just sitting there like in the corner like could you not like just stop doing that? You're getting saliva all over me and shit like that. But I'm really glad that it won, and I'm really glad that it's giving animation in terms of television a bit more respect and show them a bit of more of the art form and what it can do.
This is basically this is basically why it won over the others. I mean, if you look carefully at the categories for outstanding animated features, Over the Garden Wall is basically the only show that's actually not a comedy
Yeah.
in both visual and tone. Well, so that's one factor. I've explained it earlier on my solo podcast. Another is because of the fact that it is it is basically an ode to some of the classics, like the
Yeah.
Max Fleischer cartoons in the 1930s, like some of the literature works like Mark Twain and other Americanas, and of course other artworks like that from Dante's Inferno. And assuming that the judges who view these uh, they're probably this is my personal opinion. They're probably saying, okay, so we have another comedy, and then what's this show that's standing out of the rest? It's completely different.
Yeah.
So that's probably one factor why it's serving, because it's different from the rest of the pack. It stands out.
Yeah, and two, you have the factor that, let's face it, what I think they were getting tired of just giving the same award to like The Simpsons for the past like what 10 years, well, maybe
Right,
longer.
right. I would agree with that. It's just that it's the same old thing. You have nothing you have nothing to live up for. But at least you got something that
Yeah,
that's completely different, a completely different tone, an art style, and perhaps another factor is that it's only 10 episodes long. Then that's it. It's done. There's going to be no more of it. It's like, huh? There's a scarcity over here. Unlike the other four, it's been around for like something years.
yeah, which I
There's
think is really
always
interesting.
So there's always next year for them. But for this one, no. It's a one-time deal. So why not? Right?
Yep.
Yeah,
I think it's interesting that.
I think that's really mature of them to do that. And yeah, you don't really see that often with these types of award shows when it comes to animation. The Oscars. Sorry, I'm going down for something.
Yeah, that will be that. At least it's a bit of a retribution from the Oscars, because I really hated the way they did the animation category in the Oscars, giving it again to Disney, and making the impression that animation, despite all its advancements and its recognition over the decades, there's still that stigma that if it's animated, it's for kids. If it's supposed to be adult, it's supposed to be a comedy. And
Yeah, I've read
trust
somewhere
me,
that the judges kind of
a lot
felt.
of people.
Let's
Right.
not go deep into that because that shit angers me to no goddamn end.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
You and I are of the
No,
same blood.
Yeah.
God damn it. Like, I can name like a ton of animated movies I've seen that are more mature than most fucking adult movies I've seen.
I would
In fact-
agree.
And the
what-
fact that like these idiots just constantly view it as a medium just to entertain children is just borderline and fucking insulting. You want? Oh, really? Animation just for kids? I got some news for you. Go watch fucking Paranorman or any of the Leica movies, or watch anything from Aardman or stuff like that. Movies that transcend that type of genre. Or hell, watch any fucking anime out there. Akira, any Studio Ghibli movie, Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle. Watch those and tell me again that animation is just for kids. Or hell, watch Heavy Metal and say animation is just for kids.
Yep.
Anyway, now we're getting
You know,
on tangents.
I'm not disagreeing in any way, but you said watch any anime. So if you watch Hamtaro, you would be making the argument that.
Okay, good point. Yeah. But anyway, moving on. Great win for CN, and now for a big downfall for CN, which is. Ryoga, you mind explaining this? Because I think like if I try to explain this, I might legitimately go insane.
Okay, so basically this just happened very much earlier today, so it's a bit of a breaking news. Is that supposedly CN is supposed to air new episodes of regular show We Bear Bears and Gumball for the rest of September, alongside Steven Universe and Total Drama of the Redonkulous Race. Then all of a sudden, earlier today, they've made simply out of the blue, they've decided they're going to pull out all new episodes of all their CN originals for the rest of September, except Steven Universe and Total Drama. The reasons are pretty much unknown, but some are saying that it's likely due to the second quarterly report that the ratings for Time Warner, the parent network of Cartoon Network, has gone down by 7%.
Jesus Christ! Really?
7%. 7%. and it's not just Time Warner, but a lot of other networks have been hit as well. Viacom, the parent company of Nickelodeon, is down by more than 10%, probably between 10 to 14. Disney is the one who hit the lowest at 20%.
Oh
So
my
that's a big
god!
drop.
That's awful!
Now,
Jesus Christ!
so
I didn't want
the,
to say this because I may have
okay,
been to blame because last month I got a Hulu account and I've been watching that. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry.
You're part of the problem!
but yeah. So basically, so one of the main reasons why there's been such a low viewing of pretty much all the major networks, not just Cartoon Network, is the fact that more and more people are pretty much not watching cable anymore and moving to online streaming. And to be fair, Netflix, YouTube are pretty much surging. Even Amazon is surging. More and more people are using these services. So much so that I even look at another report saying that activity with regards to online piracy has gone down by a significant degree because more and more people, rather than pirating shows on the Pirate Bay, would just watch the shows on Netflix, YouTube, and Amazon Prime, or run some of the apps that show, like HBO Go, CN app, Disney app, Nick app. So
Yeah, they have an app
we're
called Cartoon
basically
Network Anywhere, right? Or something like that.
anywhere. Yeah, something anywhere. And basically, the Cartoon Network is pretty much showing all of their new episodes on the app as before the TV broadcast. This is actually related to a report on April in which Time Warner, Viacom, and another network I don't know. Variety reported it. They were actually planning to provide a new rating system and ditching the Nielsen system because they know that the cable industry is dying. So they need to find a way to attract advertisers, and the only way to do that is online. But Time Warner is pretty much leading the pack here. So now we're
Jesus
basically
fucking
seeing the shift.
Christ!
So here's what's going to happen for the rest of September. The only new episodes that will air will be Steven Universe. It will continue to show its regular time at 5:30. Total Drama: The Redonkulous Race will continue will continue airing new episodes, but instead of 5 o'clock, it's going to be 7:30. Rabbit, the new Looney Tunes series, which was supposed to premiere on Boomerang in October, will now shift to Cartoon Network and will air its bombs for the rest of the week, starting this Monday at 5 o'clock.
I should be miffed about that, except for me, comes in at a 1080. I have DirecTV, and Boomerang comes in at a 480p. So really, this is kind of a step up for me.
And here's perhaps the most damning part of what CN is going to do. Starting Monday, you're going to notice that more than 60% of its time slots are filled with Teen Titans Go. Now, here's the reason. You may or may not notice that for the past month, Teen Titans Go is actually losing in ratings since the start of August.
Yeah.
Regular show was actually winning that slot. So until last Thursday, with Steven Universe, I think for the first time in its season, if not ever, actually took the top spot as the most watched CN original show above all the rest. So.
Wow.
So essentially, what Ian's doing right now is basically doing the exact same thing as Nickelodeon is doing, because of the fact that everybody's going online, so they're trying to rethink their strategy. So we don't know when these shows will be coming back. We Bear Bears is also pulled out, so there's no We Bear Bears for the rest of September.
The fuck is
I know.
We
So
remember
you're not
feeling
gonna watch. So basically, everything you're gonna watch starts from now on is just reruns, except Steven Universe in Total Jump. That's the only thing that's new. And
Uh,
that also means that there's supposed to be Gumball Bomb, the week of premieres that's supposed to start at near the final week of September. That is canceled.
yeah. Just see on my picture on my picture and to see my reactions.
Oh, I can see it. It's it's an
uh,
army of face palms, right?
uh,
Yeah, the
Right.
Nicky got
okay.
things Palm and and Dan versus how much I hate everything.
Um,
Okay, see, and
Denver,
quick
that's been
question.
a while.
Really, really small question. Why do you have to be this retarded? Really? Why? What about this decision says you're going to get more ratings by pulling off the shows that have been, being good for the past couple of weeks and actually have been getting decent fan bases for the past couple of months? We Bears has a decent fan base now because that's a really good show. And Steven Universe, do I even need to say anything about that fan base? So there's people that clearly watch these shows. And I know you have to want to keep up with the online craze, but still, not a lot of people do have online. So it would be nice for people to have the option. So why do this? Why are you constantly shoving more Teen Titans Go in our faces? Because you claim it's our new favorite show, even though the only people that fucking watch it are fucking brain dead dipshit kids. Like this, uh,
You know, and
everything.
it's especially ironic, especially odd when you consider that, like you were, I think Yoga said earlier, Teen Titans Go was slumping in the ratings, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
So what's
So
the point in keeping more of it? Just you think that's gonna keep you more ratings if you just throw more shit at it? Newsflash: when you constantly shove something in someone's face and just constantly shove it, they're gonna get sick of it and they're gonna want something more. So if you're gonna constantly shove out over 60% of your lineup being nothing but Teen Titans Go, we're gonna get sick of it and you're gonna lose more ratings than gain them.
I mean, to be fair, Nick has done the exact same thing. I think more than 60% of their lineup is pretty much nothing but SpongeBob. So,
True, but
and,
oh yeah,
still,
that's right.
everyone's
I was gonna say tell that to Nick.
yeah, exactly.
please. Why don't these sucking idiots get it for their fucking heads? Just why? God fucking damn it, why? Ugh.
I mean, even
I
if this is
finally
remove
hate.
a lot.
I did
Go
have
ahead, Greg.
my own personal theories as to why Teen Titans Go was failing in the ratings for the past little while. It was a mixture of two things that I could think of at the time anyway. First of all, like George was mentioning earlier, I'm imagining kids were having a bit of a burnout. Like basically, you show too much of it, they're gonna get sick of it and want to watch something else.
Yeah.
And the
Right.
reason I could think of, and you guys could argue that this doesn't really help count in any way. But I noticed that one of the times that it was coming on was sometime in the midday, it was 1 or 2 in the afternoon, something like that.
Right.
Uh, Now here's the thing: in the area that I live in, generally speaking, school kind of goes like this. You go from you start the school day at 8 o'clock, and and you leave at around 3 or 4. It always depends on the school, but it's usually around 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And 12, 1, 2, those are not times that kids would be able to watch the show by then. And I know, and some people would say, oh well, they could watch it at lunch. Yeah, the funny thing is, our schools they generally kind of have their TVs on news stuff as well. Like you could have it on ABC, like a cooking show, or Fox News because it's Texas over here. So
God damn it. I'm fucking homeschooled and I refuse to watch this shit. I'm dead serious. I refuse to watch most of these fucking shows. I have my entire DVR. Most of it is stuff from fucking Me TV, like a classic '60s TV channel, like constant '60s shows that I have listed on there. I would rather watch those than most of the shit that these people are just shoving down my throat.
And that's basically the problem these networks are virtually having is that, as far as most people are saying, and I can dare to say, there's not you hook up a thousand or so channels, and there's still nothing there to watch.
Yeah,
Literally.
like the only really current shows I've watched recently. I think the only current show I watched a lot of recently was probably the Will Forte's The Last Man on Earth, and I felt like that had a good run for a while, and it it's getting a second season later this month. But it knew when to end. It had like 13 episodes or so. That's a good
Right.
lineup. That gives you enough, and it wasn't Fox just shoving at Charlotte Frodes. You got good setup, good characters, good actors, good writing. You got all this stuff, and you have 14 episodes to contain the first season. That's good. That's really good. But then you have something like this, which is why I don't like what CN and Nick are doing. What I like what Disney has been doing with Gravity Falls, like not like just constantly like pushing the hiatuses and stuff, but constantly like condensing the seasons down to a limited selection of episodes. So that way, when you get to like done with the first season or second season, you don't have like just like 100 episodes like of abundance of it. So you have to constantly binge watch for the entire thing. That's what I don't like about Adventure Time or a regular show or Steven Universe. I like Steven Universe to a certain extent, but it's just driving me insane, and this is the fucking driving point to show exactly what is going wrong with these people things. Like, if you want, okay, CN, if you're watching this, like, I know they're not watching this because we're a fucking obscure podcast. If you want to really boost your ratings, do this. Look at the most popular shows on your network, make new episodes of it, but don't have them constantly come out all the time, every week or so. Have them come out, say, like I meant not every week, like every day or so. Have it come out at least once a week or something like that. Like, don't have any more of these bombs. Don't have more of these, like, constant Teen Titans Go. Space it out between good, real content, like reruns and stuff, and new content. Have a good balance between the two. Don't just throw more reruns of Teen Titans Go at us. This goes to Nick as well with fucking SpongeBob. Granted, Nick has been improving to a certain extent. Well, I use the word improvement very loosely, but still the point stands.
I mean, here's another thing I want to add up. This is just a rumor that I heard a long time ago, but I didn't really bother it. But it originally came from a TV show. And it regards to the current CN president for CNL. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. Now, the rumor here is that, which may be related to what's been going on, is that if you may have noticed, you don't see that many reruns of Adventure Time or regular show at all. You do see it Steven Universe and Clarence, but that's about it. Now, the reason is that uh, Christina Miller may have made a statement. I can't confirm this; it's just a rumor. She says that she actually wants to get rid of shows like Adventure Time and regular show, and possibly even Steven Universe, for two reasons. Number one, the content that these shows are providing, she does not believe they're appropriate for kids. So what you think about it?
Research that I could probably. There's probably a few guys in cartoon research that could probably agree with that.
Right. So the second, and perhaps the more sound reason she would do it is that the problem with with some of these shows is that there are very, very few of them that are standalone, and most of them are part of a story arc.
Oh, is this that same argument? What was it? What's that show that's going to be airing on Nick?
Harvey Beaks.
Harvey Beaks are Ladybug.
No, it's a super. It's Ladybug something.
Yeah, it's Ladybug.
Oh yeah, right. I forgot. Oh fuck that news as well. Like.
Yeah, we were supposed to come out this month, but it was delayed till December because Nick wants the episodes that are standalone and not have a story arc until near the end of the season.
This is my problem with what CN is doing. They try to have filler episode. Try to have a balance between filler episodes and story arc episodes, when really you can't really mesh the two together. You can, I know you can probably argue you can do that properly, but the problem is you had to be really, really fucking creative and really, really skilled in order to pull that off. Like for how long? Like shows like Adventure Time, Steven Universe, and regular show have been going on for. And as we've been clearly seeing, they clearly haven't. Because been having trouble binging on these shows as well. I've been trying to catch up with these shows. Well, Adventure Time and regular show can go screw off for all I care. I mostly just care about Steven Universe. Another show we try to binge watch on is
I like regular show. How dare you?
I do too. I like the show. I still think it's good. I just I haven't found time to really see a point in watching any of the. My point is again. What was I saying? My point is that they try to do this balance between these two ideas, and it just gets frustrating because you have to know what episodes are important, which ones are skippable, and even then you want what are the episodes that have the skippable things that are important to the story. This is part of the reason why I kind of find it easier to follow Steven Universe as opposed to Adventure Time, because Adventure Time I find just flat out confusing nowadays.
Yeah, Adventure Time, you pretty much drop. You pretty much just go there for the adventures. Dude, if you're expecting a good, appealing story, just take a shot of vodka with poison and kill yourself because Adventure Time is never gonna have a good story unless they start to giving a shit.
Exactly, and Steven Universe, I feel like I can actually follow up what's going on with, I watched the bombs that happened. We've done podcasts on as well, in case you're wondering.
Right.
So I understood perfectly well what was going on in those podcasts because one, I don't feel the need to go back and rewatch them because this actually explained to me what the certain situation is, what's going on, and more importantly, what the characters are going for. That's why I feel like that show does a bit better than these shows. The problem is it doesn't have that much of an arc per se. It has an arc, but it just kind of goes like that for the most parts.
Right. Let me add to that is that the fact that if this is, we don't know if the show is true, of course, but the fact that because Steven Universe does have a bit of a story arc, so you need to at least watch some of the past episodes to know what's going on. There is probably it's likely the one reason why on the Emmys its Lion 3 episode lost to Adventure Time because the Lion 3 episode is actually related to the past episodes that tells us more about Rose Quartz.
Yeah.
But the Brick episode was a standalone episode. It's not connected to any story arc, and the fact that Jake the Brick was a tribute to National Public Radio at a time when people used to just listen to the radio for anything what's going on. So that's probably why it won. But going back to the rumor, and yeah, that's I would say the same. And it's also related to if you probably noticed a few years ago when Avatar: The Last Airbender just finished its run, you notice that Nick actually rarely airs reruns of it again because of the fact that the entire series, and even Legend of Korra, was part of a long, bigger story arc that in order to actually get to it, you have to watch all the way from the very beginning.
Exactly.
And Nick simply couldn't upload the video, so they figured it out. But I don't know. I would understand that, but then I recall that when Boomerang was still in its golden days, they would have one slot for the entire day, Monday to Friday, all airing Samurai Jack, and then they're going to go all the way from the beginning all the way to the final episode, and then start again from the very beginning. So when I was watching that, I know I missed a lot, but since this was 50 or so episodes, I know when the next episode's coming up, and I can simply watch it when it comes back on.
Exactly.
I was hoping that under the new leadership of Christina Miller, they would do the same thing with some of their shows that do have story arcs, like Steven Universe. But apparently that's not the case. They do want to be just standalone episodes. Now, the reason why they're letting Steven Universe run its course is for two reasons. Number one, the most obvious one is because of the fact that Steven was supposed to come out on August, but it got delayed and aired in September instead, so about a month. So they're just let scores. Another is, I don't know if it's most probably true, but I'm not for sure, is the fact that a lot of fans demanded that Steven Universe not be pulled from reruns. So she's just
Yeah,
filling it in for fans' sake. So,
exactly.
guys,
And I feel like if if they're just gonna pull these shows off the air because fans are having trouble keeping up with what's going on in the arc. Here's a new flash. Tell your writers to actually get their shit together and write a good arc. For that way, like when you hear like people talk about like, oh, you need to watch the show, but there's this one part where you have to really know what's going on. Do that, and if not, well, here's a good idea. Why not release them on DVD and box sets or some shit? Or hell, why not use like a
let
Netflix or Amazon route and have a free streaming site for these people to actually catch up with these shows? Hell, I'll give a great example. My favorite show of all time is Nickelodeon's House of Anubis. How did I find out about that show? You want to know how? I binged on it online on Nickelodeon website. On the Nickelodeon site. I saw the first episode there, I saw the most episode there, and then I watched them live because, okay, I understand what's going on. I had no download, and also I found out that there was a new season coming out for that show that way. So why not do that? That was smart. And keep in mind, this is coming from fucking Nick, by the way. Ugh!
there's probably writers saying that yeah, we're still we're still the number one show because we're not, your guys are not putting into account the fact that more and more people are watching stuff online. So they're pretty much making their points here. As for Adventure Time, I will have to sympathize with it, in part because most of the staff that originally worked on it has branched out to other projects. Rebecca Sugar, for example, branched out to make Steven Universe. Patrick McHale did Over the Garden Wall. Skylar Page and that other guy who now runs the show now. They now
Spencer
did
Rothwell, I think.
Spencer Rothwell. They now did, and so on and so forth. So and Penn Ward pretty much stepped down from being showrunner because he couldn't handle the pressure anymore. So now it's run by a new showrunner, Adam Muda. So Adventure Time isn't what it used to be anymore, because most of the staff that worked on it are pretty much gone to do other projects. So I sympathize with that, but they still have that recognition as the series that actually led Cartoon Network to where they are now. I mean, without Adventure Time, there wouldn't be probably a Steven Universe, a Clarence, a Over the Garden Wall, and all of the other stuff that made Cartoon Network quite popular now. Without Adventure Time, another credit goes, of course, to Flapjack because a lot of guys were there. So,
Oh yeah.
so they have that. So they had that recognition. So, for at least for the record, at least for the sake of recognition, they'll at least keep on going, for the long haul. So, but for the rest, I'm not sure. Now, I mean, any of the shows are canceled because Cartoon Network did order new seasons of all of them. It's just that they believe that it's better to just bring them out, bring all these episodes out at the official start of fall, which is like near the end of September, and probably around Halloween week, because we know that they are planning to release the 8-part episode of Adventure Time during Halloween week that focuses on Marceline. So we know at least Adventure Time's coming back there. And if I'm not mistaken, Nickelodeon is also. Did they recently show Harvey Beaks lately? I'm not sure. I didn't get to watch it.
I think
No.
they might have been pulling it from. There's a lot of shit going on with Harvey
Yeah,
Beak
because
lately.
what they're doing is that they're doing the same thing. They're pulling out some of their new episodes of Harvey Beaks and others, and instead airing them in around October or so. I'm not sure because I don't have Nick anymore. But Nick and Cartoon Network are pretty much in the same pace now as to what they plan to do. They want to just bring them all out, probably around Halloween or so.
It's a quantity over quality situation, basically.
Right, and then I'm not sure what Disney's planning to do. I know that around October they're going to finish off Star Wars: The Forces of Evil, and of course, Wonder Over Yonder has wrapped up production with no telling whether they're going to have another season. So we don't know. They are saying that despite the fact that the ratings for Gravity Falls are low because of the fact it's a satellite network than in a regular network, on a regular network, it's still
You
getting
think
high
that
marks.
putting a popular show on a cable network that not a lot of people had would somehow lose the ratings for it? What do you fucking know?
Yeah,
Fucking
it's
kidding me.
it's kind of weird. When a lot of their new premieres, Star, Wonder Over Other Gravity, are airing on Disney XD, which not many people would be able to have, as opposed to a basic cable like Disney Channel. I mean, it would get more exposure if it were there, but apparently what they're doing is that the majority of their animated programs would be on Disney XD, while the majority of their live action or premieres of live action would be on the main Disney channel. I mean, I would blame China for that.
Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that that they hadn't already done this already because I just remember like the late 2000s, early 2010s, Disney Channel was it was basically just mostly live action sitcoms that they had,
Right,
uh, and I didn't and I kind of knew that Disney XD had more animated programs on, but it still had quite a bit
because
of
of the fact that it used to be Jetix, right? That was
Yeah,
experiment in
so it was
Jetix. And,
Disney, which had Jetix in there. And as far as I can tell, the only real connection that it has to that is I think it was like a show that was on Jetix that maybe jumped over to Disney XD. I don't know. Honestly, the only things I remembered about Jetix was actually there were a few shows I remembered from there, but the big thing I remember was it was essentially a spiritual successor to Fox Kids. That's the only thing I
yeah, oh, Jetix had a number of great tunes there. Like I know they have Super Robot Monkey King Hyperforce Go. That's a pretty long name for an
oh,
animated. But
I've heard many great things about that. I never saw that show, but I heard so many great things about
that
it.
was actually quite good. It's from Cyranielli, who's the current producer of the mixed TMNT series. It's really, really good, and it had great types of voice of Beast Boy there. It's pretty good. They also had Oban Star Racers, which is perhaps their only original anime that's
Oh,
co-produced.
oh yeah, now I remember that one.
That was also that was
That
also on Jetix,
I
and they
remember
have.
I remember I used to saw like the opening credits for that, and I was noticing like names that weren't Japanese, and I was going, "What's going on here?" I looked it up. It was a French-Japanese co-production. I went, "Oh, okay." So that's an interesting tidbit for. That's not interesting at all, but I just thought that was kind of funny for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, I think we should wrap this up. I think we've gotten this up too far. Point is, what CN is currently doing is fucking dumb. Really
It
fucking dumb.
is.
I really, really hope
It's
they
weird.
pull through next month. Um,
I
if you
mean,
don't mind, will I be watching any of these shows? Fuck no. I'm watching MeTV and I'm gonna catch up on Sexy Batman show. That's what I do with my fucking cable.
Like,
Uh,
so
yeah,
in
you
the
watch
meantime,
MeTV all the time.
we'll find out for sure. Cartoon Network usually announces their new programming schedule near the end of the month, so we will know for sure when of these shows are exactly coming back, or if they decide to just let fill with reruns until they figured something out. The one thing that we definitely know for sure is that as far as Boomerang is concerned, it'll probably remain as scheduled. So we'll probably Be Cool Scooby Doo will be airing there on October, most definitely, as well as a series of return of some Warner Brother animated shows. So anything that's made by Warner, like Baby Looney Tunes, Sylvester 20 Mysteries, all of that, they'll go as scheduled over there. So guys,
oh, yippee.
Yay.
I don't think I have a boomerang, so I don't give a shit. Anyway, wrapping up again. Final thoughts. Dumb fucking move. Let's just hope for the best next month.
On a side
right.
note, before we go on to the next thing, is Sven Gulli still on MeTV? Just curious.
What?
Uh, Sven Gulli, it airs on like Saturday nights.
Ben
Mostly like
Movie?
monster horror film stuff.
Oh yeah, I think they do actually. I think it's every Sunday around 1-ish. I forget when exactly. I actually have one of them recorded. I'll check the date for you. I'll Facebook you on that. I'll definitely keep you up on that. Great
Okay.
channel, by the way. Really, really great channel. Lots of great shows on there. Like, again, I'm a 17-year-old and I would rather watch shows from the 60s than
Yep.
I'm a
Yeah.
19-year-old, and I do get a good kick out of watching them.
Yep.
Anyway, speaking of TV show, new TV networks, Nickelodeon. God, this is one of the most convoluted news stories I think we've ever talked about. Apparently, there was a recent announcement by Nickelodeon that they're going to be coming out with a new thing called the Splat, and what that is. Oh my God! Wow. First, it was going to be a new channel in the same vein of Boomerang and Disney XD. Then it was going to be just a new set block on the main form of Nickelodeon and T-Nick. Now it's going to be back to being a channel, and and basically what it is that it's going to be playing reruns of classic 90s Nick shows. I believe Cat Dog, Rocko's Modern Life, Hey Arnold, Real Monsters, stuff like that, and it's fucking going insane for the past couple of days now. The speculation is insane. Clint from Rise and Fall of Nickelodeon has been covering this a lot on his page, Rise and Fall of Nickelodeon, who we had last week, 2 weeks ago. So if you want to know what exactly is going on, stuff like that, I think you should check out there. Guys, what is your opinion on this matter?
What the fuck? That's the only thing I have to say.
Yeah,
I
same.
saw a comment once on, somebody on Cartoon Research said this, and I think it sums up my opinions perfectly. The Splat is a mess before we even got more proper details as to what is going on.
Yeah, which is really sad because the idea has a lot of potential. I would love to see
It's a
lot of
great
these shows.
idea. I'm not
Because I
gonna
used to
lie.
watch. Yeah, I used to watch a lot of these shows when I was younger. Not on cable. I didn't have cable growing up. I watched them all on old VHSs and reruns that they used to often play. So I didn't have an on. So this would be a good opportunity to introduce kids around my brother's age who don't really know about these types of shows, and I feel like that would give them some clarity to show them what Nick is, and it's not full of Sanjay and Craig, breadwinners, the Fundermans, garbage like that, Game Shakers. Oh my fucking God, Game Shakers. Oh God.
I think me and a friend have both agreed that Breadwinners may. Yeah, I think that and Teen Titans Go are basically are trying to fight for the consent of the throne that was previously ceded by Johnny Test.
Yeah. That's quite a fucking accomplishment. But anyway.
I'm just saying maybe Teen Titans Go is more worthy of the seat because at the very least, Breadwinners, you can make the argument they're I'm not saying it's better in any way in terms of writing or anything like that, but I'm kind of thinking in terms of animation, at least it looks like I don't know,
It's the most, I don't know, the strangest piece of animation I've ever. I mean, you guys have been talking about a lot about Breadwinners, but I've never seen one episode of it until earlier this week. Well, I decided to catch one episode where they're trying to deliver a bread and they had one bread that with fettuccine, meatballs, and cucumber placed on the bread that shapes like a face, and they don't want to give it out. And the entire plot is pretty much these two guys, a couple other guys, fighting over this.
I'll be right back. I gotta go do something real quick.
Fine.
I was wondering, what the heck am I watching here? I mean, I'm not really talking much about the plot or the writing, but more like the animation is just strange. Am I supposed to be watching a parody of a video game? Is it supposed to be a flash animation? Is it supposed to be 2D or 3D?
It's a jumble. It's a jumble mess.
I can't describe it. I can't describe it. I mean, do I like it or hate it? I don't know. It's just a bit of it's just a surprise to me.
Yeah, I felt the same when I first watched it. I heard so much shit about it.
Yeah.
Anyhow, with regards to the Splat, I mean, at least when MTV I think made an announcement, it is going to be a channel. And considering it's a Viacom, there's no reason for them to. Well,
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, okay, we'll talk though. As I was saying that MTV, I think made another announcement that there's gonna be a channel.
I'm back.
They'll show all the classic mix shows, and all I'm saying is that whether it's gonna be a separate channel similar to Nicktoons, or it's gonna be a block similar to Adult Swim, if you're gonna make it good, at least make the number of programs there good. If it's gonna, what I'm saying is, if it's gonna be just a rather than a channel, be but a block similar to Adult Swim. I prefer the slot would air on the same time slot as Adult Swim to compete with it, from 8 in the evening till 6 in the morning. So and have them all air classic Nick shows, and then after that, and then they can go back to the regular programming. Because that's what's made Adult Swim successful so far with their programming schedule from 8 to 6.
Yeah,
Now,
I've actually been watching some Adult Swim as of late, and because I recently just got done moving, and we got Optimum cable and Wi-Fi, and I've been watching some Adult Swim at night, and I've been liking what I've been seeing so far, and I've really also been catching up on some other shows I've been wanting to check out. Some of the shows I didn't even know were still continuing and getting new seasons recently. I just watched a season premiere of South Park, and I laughed my fucking ass off. Like I haven't seen that show in forever. But anyway, back to the point. Like I feel like what you're saying is a really good idea. I feel like a lot of people are saying, "Oh my God, new channel! It's gonna be all Nick." Like, really, what? Like, I know
now
a
here's
lot of
now
Nick
for,
episodes up, but
now if they're going to be like another channel, a separate channel besides Nick, because Nick already has sister channels already. We have Nick Jr., Teen Nick, Nicktoons, and now we have the Splat.
yeah,
So they got plenty in their hands. I'm
yeah,
guessing if they're going to go with it's going to be a separate network, it's likely to compete with Boomerang, since CNN is pretty much heavily promoting Boomerang now, not only airing classic shows but reruns of modern ones as well. So that's where they can compete.
So I
But
feel like the best idea for them to do is either
I
if
gotta
you're
be.
gonna
I'll be right
go.
back again.
Oh, it's fine. I feel like if they're gonna go with a channel route, you're gonna have to really, really try to find a good balance between like a lot of the shows that we've seen before that are really popular to like my like some of my younger kids. I have like three other brothers, one 13, one turning 11, and one just turned 6. And I don't feel like my two of them know what these shows are. One of them is again he's 6, so he doesn't know about these shows. So you have to really find a good balance between like stuff that he would probably know about, and also like this level from like my generation or like past that, like the guys who grew up in the 90s with these shows would understand what these shows are and get to show their kids. So you have to find a good balance between that. Problem is, even though there's a lot of episodes of those shows, I don't think there's enough of them to like surpass like a lot of reruns of them. Like I don't see this like becoming like Boomerang, where there's a limited amount of classic Warner Brothers, Hanna-Barbera, and Cartoon Network shows that you can play on reruns. Classic Nick, they don't necessarily have that option. The way I can potentially see it working is if it, like they bring out some of the more obscure ones from like the late '80s, like some of the game shows that they used to put out, and also like some of the other live action shows like I Salute Your Shorts, Adventures of Pete and Pete, Are You Afraid of the Dark, shows like that. I feel like that could work. Keenan and Kel, all the original, all that stuff like that. I feel like if you do that, they'll surpass it. If they're gonna go the route I think they are, it's not going to end well, and it's going to possibly make them lose more ratings. So I feel like if they're going to go that route, they should make it like a separate block.
right.
Right, right. But but yeah, I agree. I agree with George on this one. But we need but I would love more. I would love more if if Viacom actually gave us some solid information
Yeah,
on
like
this channel,
that's
because we're speculating with what we have. If Viacom actually has the guts to actually clear the confusion, then it will make it easier for us to talk about this.
yeah, it reminds me a bit of when we were talking about Fan Four Stick a couple of weeks ago, where like none of us has seen it, so we can't really speculate on the actual quality of the film. So we're just going to be talking about more and more of the controversy of everything that's going around it. And this is other cases that instance, but Just the difference with Fan Four Stick, we got a good amount of information given to us to understand what the current situation is. Here, however, we got like several conflicting interludes from different news sources, different channels and stuff, and yet we have yet to see Nick themselves come out and explain what the hell this is going to be. Why is this such a popular thing nowadays? Where we're just like constantly giving out like rumors and stuff. We're gonna be talking about another rumor in a couple of minutes. We're like, here's a new rumor that I don't know, like shit like this is coming out. Like, oh, this is gonna come out. This is gonna happen, but actually, it's going to shut the fuck up with this convoluted, nonsensical bullshit and just treat me like a fucking adult.
You're right. Anybody else who wants to bring something to this before we move on?
Nah, we're good.
Alright,
I was about to say about that rumor of Ben Bukale teasing a crossover with Gumball and another show sometime in season 5, but he's not telling which one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be a surprise.
I just hope this ends up being a success. I really do, because I feel like these people, like, for all the shit that Nick has, I feel like their audience is deserving of something much, much, much fucking better. So
I do hope that you're referring to Splat again?
Yeah.
I do hope it does too, mostly because I don't know if you guys brought this up, but the 90s are all that. Yeah, I'm sorry. All the block.
Still there?
That thing's dead.
Yeah, we can still hear Jacob.
What?
We lost your signal there for a second. You mind repeating yourself?
Oh, the 90s are all that. It's that thing. I'm surprised it's still alive. I'm sorry.
Yeah, same.
I'm
I'm a late 90s kid. I'm 17, so, and even I think this stuff is fucking horseshit.
Yeah.
I was born in '96, so the thing is for me is I'm not really I have to kind of consider myself a bit of a '90s infant or '90s toddler before I even consider myself like a '90s kid in any way. So I'm kind of thinking
the same.
So I'm more sort of familiar with shows from the '90s rather than what I'm familiar, like how it was, like what it was like being in the '90s. Like the earliest memory I remember was like in '90, like maybe like I was like in daycare, and maybe something about me going to see Toy Story 2 in the theater when I was like 3.
I think I was like, God, I think I was an infant or something. Like I was like a few months old when my parents took me to go see Mulan on. So that's probably my earliest memory of it, and then, even then, it wasn't really a memory. It was just my parents telling me about it. So, yeah, I'm with you. Like that's.
Yeah, I haven't moved into the States by during the 90s until probably about a little later. So I was still living in Asia back then. But at that point, Nickelodeon was actually brand new, and it just started launching its television brand. I was able to watch a lot of their shows from it. Prior to that, for me to watch a Nickelodeon show, I had to watch it from a local channel, which it's mostly live action. They Double Dare. You can't do that on television. Find a feature, but they never ever would show an animated feature from Nickelodeon at all until around the 90s. And Nickelodeon had their own channel, so that's why I was able to watch Cat Dog, Rocko's Modern Life, Hey Arnold. Those were really, really good shows, and during that time, they were really kicking Cartoon Network's butt.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
So, yeah, and even the earlier seasons of SpongeBob were that good.
Yeah,
exactly. If I may say something about Rocko's Modern Life for a second here, I watched the first season again just recently. I say just recently. I have the DVD of like Shout Factory's DVD release of the first season. I got it back in high school, like before I started high school. And the one thing I was noticing while I was watching it is, even taking in all the surreal visuals, the show is, I almost want to say, it feels kind of grounded in some form of reality. Like you could, like a lot of the adventures Rocco has, you could kind of see like somebody having in real life. Like the episode where he got a credit card, where his neighbors like this big head is like trying to not.
Oh,
And,
fucking boy, I remember that. Right. Yeah,
uh,
I really agree with that, and I mean that's why I really like that show a lot. Looking back on it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
of course, I
So,
also like Ren and Stimpy, which is further from that. It like couldn't be further from that if you tried.
Yeah, exactly. Like one episode they're like in fucking space. Another episode like Stimpy's becoming like forming into a fucking adult. Other ones they're dealing with like being a cartoonist. Other ones they're firehouse dogs for some reason. Yeah,
Other ones
it's
they're
pure
trying to
insanity.
be wiener barons in Canada.
Okay, that's fucking funny.
It,
But
yeah, but it actually is kind of a funny episode. I'm not gonna lie. It's
yeah,
from the game seasons, which most people don't like, but I kind of do.
yeah. But anyway, moving on. Okay, I hope this whole thing just works itself out, and we'll get more information. And when we do, we'll report it again, because that's what we do. We like to confirm stuff for our audience, because we're nice like that. We're not just assholes who just say one thing and then we're gonna like completely ignore it. I mean, fuck, have you counted the amount of times we talked about Fan Four Stick on this fucking thing? Like,
And the use of that never ends. I'm not telling
I,
you that.
I remember George when we were chatting a while back. I mentioned that your avatar had the Sue Storm thing. I said it was something along the lines of I'm not trying to worry you, but you got a little Fantastic 2050 Fantastic Four on you. You might want to play that off.
it's fine, man. It really is. But anyway, moving on to some minor news that I wanted to get out of the way, because this is something I personally am really excited for. Shaun the Sheep movie, which is a recent adaptation of a classic, not really classic, of I don't know, a show from the BBC that made it on way onto Disney Channel in the U.S. and then now it's going to be currently running reruns on Cartoon Network. Shaun the Sheep from Aardman Animation. They just released a new movie back in the UK back in February, I want to say. Yeah, February. And got its official US release in August and its Latin release in September this month. So, and now it did reasonably well in terms of overseas, and it did really well in the UK. And now Aardman has confirmed that after their next movie, slated for 2018, Early Man, which is going to be directed by Aardman, one of the main creators of Aardman, Nick Park. Afterwards, they're currently working on a Shaun the Sheep movie sequel, and I thought this was interesting news because I love Shaun the Sheep movie a lot. Like that's easily my favorite animated movie of the year so far. I loved every minute of that because what I loved about it. And my mom took my two little brothers to go see it, and what I loved, they loved it too. And what I loved about it was the fact that it wasn't necessarily like a movie like that. Like one of the things that made the show so interesting is that it's purely visual storytelling, and that's what I love about the medium of stop motion is that it requires a lot of attention to detail to express the story through visuals because it takes a lot of work to move the mouths to express like dialogue, and plus it saves you more time because if you look at a lot of classic animated stop motion shorts, they're really short, but they get a lot of point across because they focus so much on visual storytelling, and the entire movie. There's no dialogue. There's not a single word of dialogue spoken by any of the characters, but you understand exactly what the motivations are, what's going on, what the situation is, and what the characters are feeling just purely through the visuals. And I really appreciated that because I can't really name many animated movies that have actually done that in recent years. I think the closest one that we got was last year with the Box Trolls, and that was another one of my favorite animated movies of last year.
Which was also stop motion.
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, that's basically. I would say Shaun the Sheep is actually one of the best. One of the best things the guy who made Wallace and Gromit did.
Yeah.
So, and of course, Wallace and Gromit is not only a great animation, but also a very cultural significance to Britain in general. And now they have the spin-off Shaun the Sheep, and it was really, really well done. And I pretty much commend the guys for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of stop, you don't see that many really good stop motion animated features. Besides Box Trolls, the only other stop motion or even claymation and feature that I really enjoyed was the French one. It was a French one. It's called A Town Called Panic. I assume you guys have.
Oh my god, I love A Town Called Panic. Oh
Yeah,
my god. I'm making a cause some controversy, but that is probably my favorite foreign animated movie of all time. Like,
it,
just the fact, what made that movie, what pushed that over the boundaries for me is that the fact that it's somehow, of how completely unpredictable it is, because it goes from like 1 minute, the beginning of the movie, they're just trying to build a barbecue. The ending involves them like being in an underwater gift shop and being chased by like these merman people as they're trying to like find the walls back to their house. Like it somehow makes sense how they got there. Like I don't know how. It's just amazing.
it's pretty much the best way I would describe A Town Called Panic. It's basically Adventure Time before Adventure Time came
Yeah,
out because
exactly.
it's that bizarre. I didn't
Yeah,
even know that there was actually that prior to the movie there was actually an animated series that actually
yeah.
came out on Nickelodeon.
It's
I never actually got. Yeah. So I did, I remember watching those, but yeah, I really love the movie version because it was so fun. And it's something you could watch over and over again, not get tired of it.
yeah, same. I love that movie to death. That's easily in my top 30, if not top 20 favorite movies like ever. Like I just watched it on Netflix because I saw like the trailer for it on Apple trailers one day when I was 11 or something. I said, "Wow, this looks really good. This looks really cool." It didn't come to my theater because it was a foreign release, and then when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, cool! This looks really cool." Afterwards, like, okay, I need to watch this again because this is so good. This is like so. But one thing I feel like it defines a great movie for me or a great show is one that once it's over, you immediately really want to watch it again because that's
Right.
what I felt like when I watched Box Trolls, Art for Christmas, recently Mad Max and Shaun the Sheep. Like I really appreciate those. Hell, you got my personal.
Yo, George?
Yeah, hell, you got my personal favorite movie of the year. I've already seen this movie like twice now, and I loved every second of it. And that's what I really appreciate about like that's what I love about Armin. They know how to really make a really good movie out of like just the simplest things, and also manage to craft something that actually respects the audience's intelligence, especially kids. Like I grew up watching Wallace and Gromit a lot, like my little brothers as well, when I watched, and I recently rewatched Chicken Run, which I used to watch a lot when I was younger, and I realized like just how really well crafted and really well done, like the animation and how expressive a lot of the storytelling is, just through the visuals and the animation. That's what I feel like they do best. That's why I love stop motion so much. Because one of the things I don't like about some animated movies out there, and most movies in general, is because I feel like they feel the need to explain stuff that they could be just showing me. Why is it so hard to just show? Like, this is one of the biggest key features of telling a movie. Why it's called motion pictures. They're motion pictures that are telling a story. Why do you think that's the reason why flip books existed? Like you flip
Right.
the book and it tells a story, and you can tell it through your eyes. You don't have to constantly read or something. Like if I want to read, I'll read a fucking book. And
Show, don't tell, basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
I say this on a fucking daily basis, and I'm really glad for Aardman, and they're coming back a lot more because they've been. I don't want to necessarily say they've been underground because I feel like a good amount of people know who they are through Wallace and Gromit and such. But I feel like a lot of people don't know of like their really obscure work. Hell, I didn't know their very obscure work, like some of the earlier shorts, like Stage Fright, Babylon,
Stage
Pig and
Fright is
Pog,
great.
yeah, stuff like that. I didn't know about that until like I watched the Cat Icarus video on the Chicken Run tie-in game. So
Gotta
I'm
go
glad.
again.
Uh, and I'm glad Armin is coming back in full force, both with Shaun the Sheep movie and recently, a couple years ago, with the Pirates, Bands of Misfits and Art for Christmas, which is my personal favorite Christmas movie of all time, which I've expressed it several times in this podcast. And this
Welcome
makes
on.
me really excited because I'm glad these guys are finally getting some more recognition and are finally able to do more work because they've been through a really bad slum in the past couple of years. Like there was a massive
Right.
conflict between Nick Park and Peter Lord for about I think it was after Chicken Run or possibly Curse of the Were-Rabbit, where they started like conflicting between each other creatively and started to spread out and do different projects or something. I forget what Nick did after. I think A Matter of Wolf and Death is what Nick did, and Pirates of Penzance is what Peter did. So yeah, that conflicting going on, and also you had them bring on some of their animators, one of their key animators and cinematographers, Sarah Smith, I believe her name is, to doing Art for Christmas, and also having him bring on some other people to do a fully like somewhat CGI movie with Flushed Away, and I'm glad. Again, I know I'm like drawing this out, and I'm really glad to see it being successful. I'm glad they're pulling through with this. I'm really excited to see what they're doing. Like, I don't know what necessarily they're going to be getting a mileage out of this, because I felt like Shaun the Sheep movie was a self-contained enough film. Like, I don't see it needing a sequel by any means, but I'm really, really excited to see them do more with it. Like, if they feel like they have the need to make more stories out of this, go for it. And it's a joy to watch as well. Like, you see like all these handcrafted models, all of these wonderfully detailed environments that are legitimately there. They had to like frame these shots like point per point, like split second. I believe it was around the time when I first discovered like how stop motion is done. It was really around the time when Fantastic Mr. Fox was coming out. I watched the behind the scenes of that, and how they really they show how hard stop motion is, because it's told like an entire day of working on a stop motion movie, you only get about like a minute of footage. That's how much work it takes to fully do like a stop motion movie, and I'm glad that kind of work is getting recognized a lot more now. Guys.
I remember hearing that. Actually, before we get on the proper opinion thing, I remember hearing that something like Nick Park originally was doing the first one of the drama short, A Grande Out, all by himself. I think it was like he only got 10. What was it, like 10 minutes done within the span of like 2 years?
Yeah.
That is, it's that kind of amount of time and effort that really kind of goes into something like that.
It really does show you like just how amazing it is that got so recognized now, and look at it, it's so iconic now. Everyone knows practically everyone knows who Wallace and Gromit are, and they still know these shorts. Oh, I still watch these shorts every now and then, and I love them. Like, they're wonderful shorts to watch. Like, they're really funny, really clever, and just really, really timeless, and I really respect Aardman for doing that.
Yeah.
And I feel like the only people that have recently come close to really being on par with Aardman is Leica, with Coraline, Paranorman, and Box Trolls, and the upcoming Kaibo and the Two Strings, which is my current most anticipated movie, anticipated anime movie of next year. And I cannot wait for that. And I'm just glad stop motion is finally coming back in full force, because I think like people are getting, like, I know we talk about a lot about CGI and stuff like that. And one of my friends goes on and on about like, oh, this movie looks so much better in hand drawn or stop motion or any form of medium animation. Like, I'm fine with any medium of animation, but I really am glad like we're spreading out more in terms of like what medium animation can really do. And I'm glad to see this is actually coming. Granted, it's going to take a really fucking long time, but it's something.
Right. Yeah,
Plus,
right.
We also have Cartoon Saloon with Secret of Kells and Song of the Sea, and the upcoming Breadwinner as well.
Yep.
Not
Yeah.
Nick, mind you.
Yeah, exactly.
Breadwinner movie.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
There's not going to be a movie based on Breadwinners. It's based on...
Oh, okay. That's what I was worried about, too.
Yeah, no, that the day that happens is the day I legitimately shoot myself on this podcast.
Yeah.
That does happen. That'll probably be the only time where I'm not wanting to go see a hand-drawn animated film.
Yeah, that would make two of us.
Same.
It's like, a traditionally animated film. Oh, okay. No.
Nope. Nick, just go back to your little hole. Yeah, just stay there, please. Just don't bring Breadwinners into the big screen. Just please, just stop. You're gonna destroy the entire medium of hand-drawn animation, and there it goes. The movie bombed horribly, critically and financially, and now hand-drawn animation is dead. Great job, Nick. Bravo, fucking bravo. I'm gonna go fucking take a shot or something.
If Nick ever decides to sue the makers of the Breadwinner movie because of the similar name, because I'm definitely gonna flip out.
That's actually, you did not just fucking jinx us. If you just jinxed us, I am coming down to upstate New York and strangling you. Cause yeah, bitch, I'm in the same state now. So guess what? Guess who's gonna pay you a visit sometime?
Technically, I'm kind of worried if I touch the fate too, but I'm in Texas, so you can't even touch me.
I'm from Mexico, so you can't touch me either. Hey.
Wasn't James Cameron sued by Nickelodeon one time because the Avatar movie was way too in terms of the name is way too similar to Avatar: The Last Airbender? I think that happened sometime.
That's why
I wasn't sure, but yeah, it was like the argument again, it's the same. You're making money off a show we made, and it's like saying, what are you guys talking about? Avatar is a common word. You even know what the word avatar means.
is that why the movie itself was named The Last Airbender? Yeah.
I think
Right.
so. And we all know all that to do
You can't call it Avatar because they call it The Last Airbender or The Legend of Aang. But they can't call it Avatar because one of them trademarked the name. Rather than used as a common word, it actually simply means a face that's a representative of the other person online.
And we all know how well the Last Airbender movie turned out. Am I right? Oh God, I'm gonna.
Now we have this one. So I'm hoping that we're not going to have another scenario again because we know because breadwinner is also a common word in the dictionary. It's not supposed to be a trademark name.
Oh God, we're doomed.
Yep.
Oh, fuck everything.
Well, gentlemen, it's been nice knowing you.
For a dictionary name.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to our final news story of tonight, and probably the most dumb, which is saying a lot. Rumors have been spreading around, again, about a live-action Akira remake. For those of you who aren't aware of this, where have you been for the past 10 years, or 20 years, or however long the fuck this project has been around for?
I'll explain that for you to save you trouble, George.
Okay.
So for some of you who didn't know, Akira is actually a very long manga or Japanese comic book series written by Katsuhiro Tomo, and it inspired an animated movie which only covers a very small portion of the manga. The manga is really, really long, but the movie didn't cover the entire story. It's just like a small percentage of it. There's more to tell. Nevertheless, the Akira movie and the manga has inspired a lot of filmmakers today when it comes to making action films. The Wachowski brothers, for instance, with their Matrix movies, was heavily inspired by Akira. Now, the story of Akira is basically a group of guys. It's set in a post-apocalyptic Tokyo in Japan, where a group of teenagers who were part of a gang somehow get involved in this tug of war between the government and their control of children who happens to possess really powerful psychic powers that can potentially destroy all of humanity. It's pretty long. It's messed up, but it's actually really, really great. If you read the manga, it's great. For the animation, it's not really well known for its story because it's pretty much average. But it's more recognized
it's more of an expressive piece of animation to show what the medium can do, rather than like known for its real good story or something like that. It's kind of like, again, I come back to my favorite movie of the year. The story in this isn't necessarily that original, but the way it's crafted just makes it so much more worth watching and so rewatchable for me. And I feel like I only recently watched Akira a couple months ago, and I feel like it's phenomenal. Like, the animation is stunning. Like, some of the it's probably the best anime animation I've ever seen. The story,
Not so much.
it's interesting to a certain extent, but it doesn't necessarily like. It's not the thing you focus on a lot. Like you don't say like, "Oh my God, Akira had a great story." You say Akira is like
No,
was
no.
like
So,
landmark in animation.
like I said, it's the animation that a lot of people today were inspired. Even Rebecca Sugar was heavily inspired by Akira to the point that she actually had one episode where Steven was like being terraformed into a giant cat. That was
Oh
actually
yeah, I remember that. That is
that was
kind of a
actually
hero like.
from Akira, in which one of the characters was turning into this giant glob.
And it's one of the most fucking disturbing pieces of animation ever put to
It
screen.
was quite disturbing, but that's one of the things that made Akira to many filmmakers and storytellers alike such as an animated classic. Now,
Yeah.
Warner Brothers has been a long time, for a very very long time, have been wanting to make a live action adaptation of Akira, but it has gone to a lot of troubles be basically on sometimes they say they can't do it anymore. They're going to pull the project now. They're back on again, off again, back again, on again, back off again. So here's the
And
latest.
it's going on for like
It,
10
something,
years, maybe longer.
something like that. It was insane, but Warner Bros. Just seems to be really, really, really want to do this for some strange reason. And here's what the news are coming, that instead of being one movie, like the original anime movie, it's going to be a trilogy of movies. So I'm assuming that rather than adapt the story from the anime, they're going to adapt it from the books, which is much longer. So
Yeah.
if true, then that means for those who only watch the anime, they'll be able to explore things that the anime didn't tell, as far as the books are concerned. So that in a way it's a good thing. The second is the fact that Christopher Nolan, who did the Dark Knight trilogy, is now being rumored to be assigned to this project. So
Which
that's
is beyond dumb, and we should see this as an obvious oddball fake out moment to just get us more interested. Because last time I checked, after Interstellar and Dark Knight Rises, Nolan said he wasn't going to do any more adaptations for a while.
exactly. But it seems as though that I don't know. Warner Brothers is basically talking to Nolan on getting this movie done. I don't know. I mean, I think James Cameron was supposed to do this. I think another one as well, but because he's assigned to other projects, he can't do it anymore. And there was another director, I forgot whose name, was also assigned to the project, but he also backed up. So now now Warner Brothers is turning to Nolan to help do this.
Yeah.
So
Just, guys, what do you guys have an opinion on this?
mainly
Yeah,
because of his recognition of the Dark Knight trilogy. So you got that one.
yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, if yeah, I don't really know what to think of this. I can if they get a good director out of this, they could pull this up. But like I told Gio the motherfucker a couple of times ago, that the one that the time that they took to make this film is not gonna stop them. Hell, look at the Frozen project. It took them 75 fucking years to pull it off the ground, and they still right now is the one of the highest grossed is the highest grossed anime film of all time.
Yeah.
Surely,
I
if
keep forgetting that Frozen that it did actually start up in the 30s. I forget about that.
Yeah, but here's my question as to why this project keeps coming up and why I feel like this is not a good decision to go for like a live action Akira, because like I'm not saying I'm against a live action Akira, I'm against a live action Akira movie. Like when you really think about it, like the way what I've heard about the manga, it's like 18 phone books long or something like that. Like it's a really fucking long book. Here's my question. Why not make a series out of that? Like a mini series on like a big major network. Have like do like Marvel did with Daredevil, and like sign a deal with Netflix to have like one season focus on one half part of the story and tell the complete story. Bring it to life. Do something like that. Why not? Why are you focused on condensing this huge fucking story into like such a small running time? That's
I
going
would
to
think
like cause
HBO,
me to end up being
honestly.
Now, let me answer to that. George, I can probably number one. There are probably a number of reasons why they would do this as a movie better than a series. Number one, mainly is because of the fact that Akira, which I assume you've already seen it, isn't exactly a kid-friendly of kid-friendly or even a family. It's pretty
Yeah,
dark.
I
It's
fucking know.
grim. It's bloody. I would even say a bit sexist because it did feature a female character beaten up, stripped naked, and then in the end she got herself squashed by a giant blob in a most bloody way possible. So it's not exactly TV network TV friendly. The second, perhaps the biggest obstacle is the fact Akira is only known to a select few. It's not known to the general public like Star Wars, for example. So filmmakers love it, anime fans love it, action fans know about it, but for those who just simply mom and pop and kids who just watch American Idols, like what's this Akira thing? I have no idea what this is about. What's so good about it? So that's another problem here. So and I don't think any of the networks find it very profitable to have it shown as a TV series, even on cable, to have this that's pretty much unknown to most people. So having at least a movie may be the way to go. Now, that said, another thing Akira has to deal with is, well, the fact that as far as Hollywood's concerned, they are pretty bad when it comes to adapting stories uh, from Japanese fiction.
No, really? I never noticed that. Like, when you look at the track record, we have such a great track record. Isn't that right, Dragon Ball Evolution, fucking, like, the Evolution Attack on Titan movie, and a ton of other failed attempts at anime. Oh, and a ton of Japanese horror remakes, like, One Miss Call, Let the White One, the Owen, stuff like that. You know, Grudge, stuff like that. We have a great track record. So, what makes you say that? Really, what does?
So that's a thing. It's there's really in terms of basically money grabbing. Akira isn't exactly a money grabbing name as opposed to Dragon Ball, because we know what Dragon Ball is. So everybody goes,
Yeah.
but Akira is not. So they're gonna do this if at all. They have to make it good. I mean, and
Yeah.
good, I mean James Cameron's Avatar, good. More,
Yeah. Like,
where it won every award in the Oscars, good. That's what it means. Otherwise, it sucks. I mean, um, from what I recall, the last Hollywood movie that I watched that was adapted from a Japanese manga that's actually decent was Edge of Tomorrow, starring Tom Cruise.
Oh yeah,
So
that's right. I heard about that. Yeah, I
basically,
saw that movie.
basically the story was that it's an alien invasion, and it turns out Tom Cruise's character, he after being spilled with the alien's blood, he has the ability to go back in time to repeat the entire thing if he dies. So it's a bit like Groundhog Day, but for him to go back in time, he has to be killed. So it sucks for him, and so tries to figure out how to fix that. It's for what it's worth, despite all the whitewashing, because most of the characters are Japanese, they made everybody white characters there. For what it's worth, it's actually good. I like the story, I like the action, I like the execution. So it's quite
Yeah.
so of all the adaptations, that one was pretty decent. So there is kind of a hope that Akira would at least be as good as the Tomorrow, if not better. But I'm not really counting on that, guys.
yeah, like, but even then, like, when you look at this, like, what Edge of Tomorrow did, sure, it did really well critically. Box office wise,
Not so much.
yeah, not so much.
I
Exactly.
think
So I feel like that's
because of the
another
fact
factor
that
you gotta count in. Like,
I mean, part of the reason is because that I believe that Tom Cruise actually did another sci-fi prior to that. I forgot what its name is.
Oblivion.
Oblivion. So you're basically seeing Tom Cruise do two things. It didn't go well for him. So that's probably one reason why it didn't do as well as it should be. Although it did well overseas. as well as Japan, where it goes back to its original name, since the original title of the manga is All You Need Is Kill. So
Yeah, I
they,
feel like that's a much better name than fucking Edge of Tomorrow. When I hear the
yeah,
name Edge of Tomorrow, I
but,
think, wow, that's like the most fucking generic name I've ever heard in my fucking life.
I gotta prefer the tagline it was going with "Live, Die, Repeat." Honestly.
right.
Yeah, I think that's a better title as well. Like,
Live by
when you,
Repeat as
when you
well,
factor
but
in, like,
Live by Repeat they were considering that as well, but originally it's supposed to be All You Need Is Kill, but they think that it may be a bit too offensive to American viewers for whatever the reason. So decided to switch them off. Very, very.
Yeah.
It did make Emily Blunt more noticeable there, for what it's worth. And now everybody wants her to play Captain Marvel, which she hasn't confirmed yet. Anyhow, going back to Akira, yeah, right now it's still up in the air what's going to happen. We don't know if it's gonna go through or if it's gonna go out again. So right now, I'm not
I
gonna.
really feel like I feel like the turning point to whether or not this might actually be confirmed to like actually be in full development. They find a good director, they find a good screenwriter, they find the actors and stuff, is with one thing, one one really simple thing that I know for a fact won't really happen if the Ghost in the Shell live-action remake with Scarlett Johansson and the director, I believe, of Snow White and the Huntsman actually ends up being a success. That's the only possible way I can see this actually being confirmed to be in full development.
I completely forgot about that Ghost in the Shell thing. That's where that's also being, and a lot of people were up in arms about it. But yeah, Ghost in the Shell has the same issue with Akira, is that not many people in the general public know about what it is. But for those who love films, who love anime, who love things like The Matrix, they know what Ghost in the Shell is. And they were so up in arms of having Scarlett Johansson play Motoko, the main character Motoko Kusanagi, who is Japanese. So it's like it's a back and forth thing. So it's weird. But yeah, but you're right about that, George. If Ghost in the Shell becomes a successful movie, then that might be a good grounds for not just the Akira movie to be made, but probably another bunch of anime that's also under consideration to be adapted to live action movies, like Battle Angel, which is another classic manga that James Cameron wanted to do, but he couldn't do it for whatever reasons, and more especially perhaps Hollywood's own version of the Attack on Titan series. Guys,
Boy.
which I do hope for their sake is not as bad as the Japanese version, because that one was just as horrible as Fantastic Four.
You saw it.
You mean are you talking about the Attack on Titan movie that came out like just recently, or?
Both of them. He's talking about
Both of
both of
them.
them.
Oh, okay.
You
By the way,
actually.
gonna have a U.S. release sometime in a couple of weeks for
And
both
guess who's not
movies.
seeing those in theaters? This guy! I'm gonna be paying money to go see something fucking else. I'm gonna go pay money to go see Black Mass or something.
Well,
Yeah.
here's my sort of question about the Attack on Titan. Well, I remember when the announcement came of the Ghost in the Shell movie with Scarlett Johansson, everybody got upset about it. I kind of stopped and thought about it, and I went, wait a minute. Well, there's a live-action Attack on Titan movie coming out with Japanese actors, which I have no problem against that fact. But what kind of threw me off was, in the context of the universe of Attack on Titan, a lot of the characters, it's primarily set in a quasi-European background. In fact, I think within the context of the series,
Yes.
Mikasa is like the only.
Here's the thing. We actually talked about this a few episodes ago regarding the Attack on Titan movie, and we actually talked about it with host of Rise and Hope Nickelodeon. And one of the things that got us so upset is how much the movie differs entirely from the source material, and worse yet is that all these changes were under the supervision of its creator, Hachime Isayama. So we get this creator of Attack on Titan who made all of these changes to not only have the entire thing set in Japan and have all the characters Japanese, and pretty much basically nothing in the movie is ever representative of the original manga except the Titans themselves. And even perhaps what made everybody so upset was removing Levi from the equation because for the reasoning being that they cannot say Levi in Japanese because Levi is such a foreign name. And the character.
Oh god, the fucking memories are coming back. Oh god, I'm getting fucking more retarded just thinking about it.
It's like we're gonna do the adaptation of Star Wars, but you can't put Han Solo in, but for some reason you can't pronounce the name Han Solo.
Well, there goes half my brain cells.
What prevented them from? But I mean, if that was the case, why were they allowed to say it in the anime? I'm stumped.
Because here's the thing, in the anime, Mikasa is the only Asian character. Everybody else is supposed to be Caucasian, European. Even Eren Yeager, the main protagonist, is not Japanese.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to a little bit ago.
For some reason, in the case of the live action, it said that instead of being a European setting, it has to be set entirely in Japan. That means all the characters that are involved there has to be Japanese, and their name has to sound Japanese. Even Eren can sound Japanese. Arwen can sound Japanese, but not Levi because it's German. It's Levi, as the Japanese would say it. Levi.
Levi.
It's
actually a cool name.
My question: why didn't they just make this a co-production with like a German company? I'm sure there's some company out there that would have been okay with.
And that's the thing. Japan rarely collaborates with a foreign company and shoot outside of Japan. So when they do movies, generally it's always done within Japan. They rarely do it outside. So I hate to be a bit critical with Japanese films. Is that this is one of the reasons why I really not a fan of Japanese films, other than a select few. I mean, Akira Kurosawa was definitely one of the greatest Japanese filmmakers out there with Seven Samurai. If you haven't watched it, I recommend you do because that's what made the standard of all the action movies that you see today. Every filmmaker you talk to, they will always talk about Seven Samurai. But yeah, besides that, there are very, very few Japanese films I actually like because most of them, I would dare say, they're pretty corny, in a sense. So when it comes to them adapting a Japanese manga or an anime series to a live action, more often than not, they have to actually change it so that it's more authentically Japanese. Even if the setting is done in America or even outer space or Germany, it has to look and sound like though everybody if you're in the world Japan.
That's fucking insane.
Weird.
Like
so
even when we in the U.S. adapt something like from a different country or something, we at least try to make it semi-realistic to the original country that it was in. Like fuck, how do you fuck up this badly?
I mean, when they did the live action adaptation of Rurouni Kenshin or Samurai X, some of you do about a former assassin decides to.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So they did a live action adaptation, and that was good, but mainly because of the fact that the entire setting was done in Japan, so they had no problem adapting it. But when it comes to adapting something where it stars characters that are non-Japanese, that becomes a bit of a problem, as we see with Attack on Titan here.
Yeah.
God, this stuff irritates me to no fucking end. Like, I talked about this. If you want to know my full thoughts on this, just go watch the podcast we did a couple of weeks ago with the Rise and Fall of Nickelodeon, or watch the Fan 4-Stick Extravaganza, where we talk extensively on the disaster that was that movie's production and what became of it currently. And this is coming from someone who didn't think that movie was like that bad. Like, it's not like good by any fucking stretch of the word, but I've seen like movies from this year alone that were fucking worse than it. Paul Blart Mall Cop 2, Mordecai, anybody?
Right.
Fuck. Okay, this is okay for all you Fantastic Four haters. Okay, watch Mordecai online.
Yeah,
Stream it anyway. Just watch that movie and then come back to me. Video message me and tell me with a fucking straight face you would rather watch that than Fantastic Four. I'm dead serious.
Exactly.
I was more stumped by that movie than I was outright hating it, though. That was the key thing about Mordecai for me. I was just kind of going, okay, this movie is bad, but I wasn't hating it. I was just kind of left in like this blank stare. Like I was just going, why am I still watching this? Like I wasn't raging. I was just going, what am I doing?
I feel the same about a lot of crappy movies I've watched in the past couple of years now. Anyway, back to the main topic. Akira with Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan is not. I'm not saying Christopher Nolan is a bad choice. It just doesn't seem like this is the type of movie he would tackle. Like I know he tends to go beyond his typical genre. He's done a lot of genres, like Insomnia is a crime drama. Prestige is a magician's film. Dark Knight movies, especially, are grounded in reality crime dramas with superheroes and superhero characters and traits and stuff like that. Interstellar's a space opera, almost like like in the same vein of like a 2001. Inception is a mind bender. Also has some influence of anime, so I guess that's where they're getting this influence from.
Oh yes, Inception. Basically, was it Inception or I forgot that other one where Matthew McConaughey was like traveling.
Interstellar. That was Interstellar.
Yeah, Interstellar. Yeah, that's pretty much heavily has very similarities with another anime, Gunbuster. If you guys have a shot, go check it out. It's basically what inspired Interstellar.
Oh, nice. I'll check that out anyway. Like, I feel like I look at that stuff, but I don't necessarily see him saying, like, you know what I'm going to do for my next movie? I'm going to adapt to fucking Akira. That's going to be epic. Like, the most likely choice I see for something like this is either someone really obscure or someone, like, who has recently done, like, a big hit that happened to be, like, in the same vein. Like, you hear about, the director of Prisoners doing the upcoming Blade Runner sequel, and I feel like that's a good example. You got a guy who's very obscure, but he's done enough movies to show that he can handle this franchise, and this is what I worry about this movie, and what I worry about a lot of movies coming out of the last year. This is why I was worried about Fan Stick upon release of like shit like Godzilla 2014 and Jurassic World, like the movies that are made by filmmakers who only did one fucking movie and are having this massive budget and this massive brand name, and they just don't know what to fucking do with it because they want to please the fans, but they also want to go in their own direction, and they're not like that well suited into their craft yet, and that's what I worry that they're going to do with this. But I feel like if they look at Christopher Nolan and if he actually does say yes to this, it's going to be a fine choice. But I don't necessarily see this as being like, that good of an adaptation or something like that. But I'm all for it being a good adaptation. I'm all for a good adaptation of Akira. I just don't see it really happening that likely. Like, if you're going to do an adaptation of Akira, why not, like, make a sequel to the animated movie? Why not make a series of animated movies? We've had a ton of continuing anime movies for the, like, past 20 to 30 years. Like, the medium of animation is limitless. You could do so much with that. Why are you limiting yourself with live action? What's the point?
Right.
Right.
Because cartoons are for kids, you see.
DC. Sorry, I have bullshit sneeze.
I'm sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit. Anyway, final thoughts.
I mean, that's a little clogged up. I guess I am too.
Yeah. Anyway, final thoughts.
Yeah,
Best of
nah.
luck.
Hello, Ryoga, you still there?
Yeah. I can hear you. Yeah. But I would just say right now, unless there's like concrete announcement that they're going to start doing production, I'm just gonna put this in the back burner. So my expectations for adapting Akira to a live action, I'm gonna have to put it in the very, 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 very low. I don't want to make it too much or I get excited too much. If they do make it good, if they are gonna do it and then they make it good, then yes, there's something for me to get excited about.
Yeah.
But if nothing of value was lost except perhaps Warner Brothers' dignity of doing this and making a really, really bad job at it.
Yeah.
Which I do hope that it doesn't reflect what they do with the DC Cinematic Universe, but that's just me, guys.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Jacob?
For me, in terms of the, uh, for me, I'm a little bit more cautiously optimistic than really getting extremely worried about it or really excited over it. I'm more just kind of going like, if it does happen, like I heard it was going to be a trilogy and it's going to adapt like all 6 volumes. I'm like thinking, okay, there's I could almost see it working, but I remember somebody reviewing the anime film, and one of the big things that they said was it was a 90-minute adaptation of I think it was like a first of what was essentially a manga the size of a phone book. Details are going to get lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm kind
So,
of thinking, okay, maybe something's going to happen like this too, but hopefully, like I said, I'm kind of hoping for the best. Just I'm not saying like I'm going to be going in with like the highest of hopes, but am going to go in with if I do see if this does happen, which is a mighty big if at this point, but if this
Yeah.
does happen, you know, there's I see this working better than the last few attempts where it was, like I said, the House of Wax director. This was before we started doing this live, everybody. This was like the House of the Wax director. I heard Kristen Stewart was going to be a starring role in it, which
What?
yeah, yeah, you can make your own opinions on that, um, and all this stuff. So at the end of the day, I'm kind of just at this point with Christopher Nolan doing a trilogy of it. I'm thinking to myself, well, it can't be as bad as the last couple of tries.
Yeah.
yeah.
As long as we have a somewhat competent director at the helm who's proven that he can handle big spectacles like these.
Yeah. Yeah. So that. So yeah.
I know George
So,
Takei was not was kind of worried that they'll be whitewashing everything.
I never got like the term whitewashing. Like I get like if it's something like really, I never got like like it's
Hang on a
offensive
sec.
to completely whitewash something. Like you're sure getting like good actors to play these characters and if they represent the characters well and they still keep their personalities. I don't necessarily see why it has to be like a race has to be a big issue or something. Just because someone is like something has an all-star black cast or an all-star white cast doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good or not. Like it doesn't matter what the character is or what the race he is or what he or she is like or what they did in the background. What matters is what the final product is. Again, I said this a lot. This shit annoys me a lot, and like I don't get why people haven't evolved past this mindset. It's just annoying.
Yeah. Yeah. I really don't get it either. But that pretty much. But that pretty much finish. That pretty much concludes this entire topic.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Anything else, guys? You want to talk about before I close this out?
I'm hoping it's Rick and Morty having a crossover with Gumball next year.
Oh my god, that will be fucking amazing. For those of you who aren't aware of this,
Oh yeah, I saw that.
the creator of Amazing World Gumball said he's going to be doing a crossover with a certain cartoon show next year in season 5, and he also dropped a hint that he's been crazy over Rick and Morty, so a lot of speculation is going on that the crossover is going to be with Rick and Morty, and if this actually happens, it will be single-handedly the greatest crossover in the fucking history of crossovers.
It's actually like Rick versus like Miss Simeon.
That would be fucking amazing.
Shut up.
Yeah.
It totally makes sense to like the whole like Rick using having the ability like to travel to different dimensions and stuff. So it's not all that insane.
Well, I know.
We're in a world where there's a blue cat.
I'm thinking exactly how will that be possible. But then again, in the Gumball, it's the void. The void basically can make anything happen. So
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
Morty, you might explain to me why the fuck this fish have legs? Like, this is something like I would create, but it's not. Like, might explain to this, Morty? Could you please, why are you talking like that? It's how I talk, because I have a massive drinking problem. Oh, God, it's over my face!
Yeah.
the only thing we know so far is that Ben Bukele is going to attend Comic-Con in Paris this October. So anybody there who speaks French and is living in France, please attend and hopefully ask him about this crossover, and probably he'll give us some more information as to what we can expect from the 5th season.
Yay!
Everybody is wondering which animated series is Gumball gonna cross over. We don't know for sure. It could be any. We know the fact that that Gumball has been referencing a lot of other shows. Most recently, Dragon Ball with Gumball turning to Super Saiyan, but
That's hilarious.
which is basically hilarious. But to me, from what I observed, what it has yet to do is reference other Cartoon Network shows. So but then again, there was also a recent picture of him hanging out with Rebecca Sugar, Pete Browngar, the creator of Uncle Grandpa, and Adam Muto, head to showrunner for Adventure Time. So it's anybody's guess as to what show the Gumball is crossovering with.
Yeah. Either way, it's gonna be amazing.
Everybody just wants to know.
It's interesting that they're referencing Dragon Ball, considering in the Japanese version of the series, Gumball is voiced by the same person who voices Naruto, and Darwin is voiced by
That's amazing.
the same actress who voices Black Star in Soul Eater.
Yes.
Yeah.
They did, and I think, and from what I noticed, Gumball, I believe, is the most watched Cartoon Network show in Japan. So much that even in Ben Bukele's Twitter, a good chunk of his followers are actually from Japan, from Japan themselves, saying how they really love the show. So there's that. So it's also possible it might be an anime. We don't know. It's again, Ben just gives us this big tease, and we have exactly no idea who Gumball's gonna meet. So it's anybody's guess. It could be Dragon Ball. It could be another. It could be Cartoon Network. Hell, it could even be Chowder for all we know.
That would be fucking epic. That would be the single-handedly most epic thing I've ever seen in my life if that actually happens.
Yep.
So I don't know, guys. I'm just thinking here. So
Yeah, I think that about wraps it up for today. It's been. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about, or real briefly before I end this up, because it's getting late here?
Nope.
All right then, Jacob.
I've got nothing else except. Actually, that's about it. I really got nothing else except, I guess, my dad just is now getting into Doctor Who. Is that worrying?
Trust me, man. It's nothing. It's nothing. Just
Okay.
make sure to just not bring it up around him. Otherwise, you'll possibly go on tangents. Trust me, I've been there a lot.
All right.
Once you go Who, you can never go back. And anyway, that has been another Master Toons podcast with me, your host George Baum. If you want to stay in contact with us, please give us a like and subscribe. And if you want to also see what's going on in my current life, follow us on Facebook on the main Master Toons Assembled page. And you also can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at ArielRocks5. And you also have my page where I review movies with the In-House Critic, Facebook page / the In-House Critic, where I'm hoping to review Black Mass later this week. I'm not exactly sure. I've been currently going through a slump of movies as of late, and I'm trying to figure out something to review. It's either Black Mass or Cooties. I'm going different between the two.
Go for the raid! Go for the raid!
Anyway, Ryoga, would you like to tell us where we can find you?
Okay, so as always, you can always find me on YouTube. You just look up for username Yoga316, and also check out my Facebook page, group page, Animation Nation Toons and More, where I usually post most of the news and my views on what's going on with animation and beyond. Guys,
Frodo?
Yeah. Yeah, just look on me in YouTube as Proto There will find you'll find my social media account.
And Jacob, if you want to. If not, you don't have to. If you don't want to, just do whatever.
On Facebook, you can find me on Master Toons Stumble. You can also find me on Cartoon Research. YouTube, you see the drawing of the skull with what's supposed to be a cowboy hat. That's me.
Nice. Nice
That's
drawing, by the
actually
way.
that's actually I drew that. That was supposed to be an artist interpretation of myself, like the creator of Fullmetal Alchemist, Hiromu Arakawa. Her artist interpretation is that she's a cow with glasses and a skirt.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
oh really? No way!
Yeah, and I do have a Twitter. It's called something blah. No joke. I was kind of being random about it.
That's fine, man.
I do have a DeviantArt. There's only one deviation on it though, and well, I say that there's like one picture and two like essay things on it. It's called Nobody Knows Elephants. Again, it's random.
Yeah.
That's fine, man. I would tell you all my own DVR, but I really don't want to.
Don't.
I don't. You really don't want to know. I'm not bad. It's just.
I probably do it myself.
It's fine, man. We've all been there. I recently came out about a thing with my friends, and I lost my fucking brother on Facebook, and other things are going on in my social life. Anyway, yeah, that has been the Master Tunes podcast with me, your host George Bow, and we'll see you all next week. And it was great to have you, Jacob, on this podcast for a new member, and we're always looking for new members. If you want to. By the way, if any of you are watching this and are part of Master Tunes Assembled and you want to be a part of the podcast, just give me, Jack, David, or Carson a message on Facebook, or just post on the main Assembled page, and we'll think about adding you in. We're always looking for new members.
All right.
All right.
It was great to be here, guys. Thank
No
you
problem.
so much for letting me be on here.
No problem. And that's about it. We'll see you all next week. Thanks for watching, and peace.
Bye bye.
Peace out.